But let's transition back to the NFL. Let's transition to the New York Jets. As sources say, the New York Jets are optimism growing in that organization, and they are excited because they have the possibility of trading for Aaron Rodgers. This is according to ESPN's Diana Rossini. If you don't know, earlier in the week, Jets owner Woody Johnson, head coach Robert Saleh, offensive coordinator Hackett, they flew out to California to meet with Aaron Rodgers, and they're trying to recruit Aaron Rodgers to New York. So, when it comes to Aaron Rodgers and the possibility of Aaron Rodgers going to New York, I believe it's two different things at play here. I believe that from the Jets' perspective, absolutely Aaron Rodgers would make the New York Jets a better football team this year compared to what they were last year. Last year, the Jets were a mess. They were a mess last year. And I thought offensively, that was where they struggled. Like, they struggled offensively. Defensively, they were sensational. I thought the Jets had one of the best defenses in the NFL last year. And I like some of their pieces that they have on the defensive side of the ball. Defensively, you got Sauce Gardner. I believe Sauce Gardner is going to be the best cornerback in the NFL in the next 2 or 3 years, maybe sooner. You got Sheldon Rankins up front. You got Carl Lawson as well. Quentin Williams up front. And then at linebacker, you got C.J. Mosley. You got K'Wan Alexander. I like the Jets' defense. And they got Robert Saleh as their head coach. Remember, Robert Saleh was a hell of a defensive coordinator in San Francisco with the Niners. Offensively, they got some talent as well. You got Breece Hall as your running back. He's going to be coming off of that injury that he suffered last year, but he had tremendous production before his injury. And he has tremendous upside. At receiver, you got Garrett Wilson. You got Corey Davis. You got Denzel Mims as well. Elijah Moore. Offensively, there's talent on the New York Jets. So I think if you bring in a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, it's instantly going to make the Jets a better football team because quarterback was their biggest issue last year. And last year, there were times where the New York Jets didn't even score touchdowns in games. Didn't even score a touchdown in games. And that was the biggest issue with them, their inconsistency at quarterback. They had Mike White. Zach Wilson was pathetic last year. I mean, he was god-awful last year for this New York Jets football team. And again, defense wasn't their issue. I thought their defense did everything they possibly could. But at some point, you need your offense to score points. You got to have your offense score points at some point. Last year, they lost in week 11 to the Patriots, 10-3. They lost week 16 to the Jaguars, 19-3. I mean, there were times they didn't even score. They lost week 1, 24-9. So 3 times this year, 3 times this past year, rather, they didn't even score 10 points. Didn't even score 10 points. So Aaron Rodgers, when he comes into that locker room, if the Jets make this trade for Aaron Rodgers, they instantly offensively will be better because Mike White, Zach Wilson, and Joe Flacco are too inconsistent. And when you in the AFC and you're going up against the likes of Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Lamar Jackson, if he stays with the Ravens, you need an elite quarterback to compete with those other teams who have elite quarterbacks. Mike White, Zach Wilson, they are not enough. They are not enough, and they are too inconsistent. And you look at the New York Jets as a franchise overall. This is since 2012. The Jets have the fifth most starting quarterbacks in the NFL since 2012. Only the Browns, Texans, Commanders, and Bears have more starting quarterbacks since 2012 than the New York Jets. The New York Jets have had 13 starting quarterbacks since 2012. 13. So Aaron Rodgers is going to give them stability at the quarterback position, and that's something that they won't have to worry about next season. Now, when it comes to Aaron Rodgers and whether or not I believe that this is a good move for Aaron Rodgers and his career and his quest to win his second Super Bowl of his career, I believe that this is not a move going to the Jets that's going to help Aaron Rodgers get closer to winning his second Super Bowl. Let me explain why. In the NFC, I believe that Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the NFC. Outside of Jalen Hurts, who else would you consider an elite quarterback in the NFC? And on top of that, in the NFC, I believe that the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers and maybe the New Orleans Saints, now that they have Derek Carr in the mix, I believe, you could throw Dallas in there, but Dak Prescott is so inconsistent. I don't know if I can say that the Dallas Cowboys are one of the favorites in the NFC. But either way, I think the road to prosperity and the road to the Super Bowl is easier in the NFC than it is in the AFC. In the AFC, it's a gauntlet. It's a gauntlet. You got to go through Trevor Lawrence, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. If you want to win another Super Bowl, Aaron, going to the New York Jets is going to decrease your chances of being able to win another Super Bowl. And I'm not saying I want Aaron to stay in Green Bay because I've been on record saying that it's time for the Packers to move on from Aaron Rodgers. It's time. It's time because Aaron Rodgers, he's become more trouble than he's worth. And I think it's time to move in a different direction. And last year, statistically, Aaron Rodgers had one of his worst seasons from a stat standpoint. Last year, he had only 26 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 3,695 passing yards. He completed 65% of his passes. And according to Aaron Rodgers' standards, that's a down season for him. Other quarterbacks would love to have a season like Aaron Rodgers had this previous year. But for him, that's a down year. So I think when it comes to for Aaron Rodgers, I think for him to get back to another Super Bowl, if I was him, I would rather it be in the NFC than the AFC. I think the AFC is going to be tough. And in the AFC East alone, I'm not sure that the New York Jets are better than the Buffalo Bills. Do I believe that Aaron Rodgers is still an elite quarterback? I do believe Aaron Rodgers is still an elite quarterback. Like, I don't want Aaron Rodgers out of Green Bay because I don't believe he can play anymore. I want Aaron Rodgers out of Green Bay because all the chatter and the off the field press conferences and him being a diva, it's not worth it if you're not getting to the Super Bowl and winning Super Bowls. That's why I want him out of Green Bay. I'm tired of being held hostage by Aaron Rodgers as a Packers fan. And I know other Packer fans feel the same way. And it seems like General Manager Brian Gutekunst of the Packers and Mark Murphy, they're feeling the same way. They're tired of being held hostage by Aaron Rodgers. Every year we get to this point of the year and Aaron Rodgers is contemplating retirement and he got to go into these darkness retreats and doesn't know if he wants to play anymore. I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it. If you can't commit to the Packers over the next 3 years and commit in the offseason, I don't want you a part of the Green Bay Packers organization anymore. I don't. We've seen other quarterbacks who have lost great receivers and they won NFL MVPs. Patrick Mahomes did it. Patrick Mahomes last year lost Tyreek Hill. And Patrick Mahomes attended OTAs last offseason. Aaron Rodgers doesn't attend OTAs. He doesn't attend OTAs. Aaron Rodgers doesn't show up until he has to show up. And that is in training camp in August. So That's the reason why I want Aaron Rodgers out of Green Bay. I still believe Aaron Rodgers is an elite quarterback. I'm hearing a lot of people, in NFL analysts, NFL insiders, they don't believe Aaron Rodgers can play anymore. And I think that's crazy. The man just won back-to-back NFL MVPs in 2020 and in 2021. He had like 80-something touchdowns and 9 interceptions in those 2 MVP seasons combined. The man didn't even throw 10 interceptions in those 2 years when he won NFL MVP over the last few years. So I still think Aaron Rodgers can play, but I just don't want all the extra that comes with Aaron Rodgers moving forward. And then, again, if I'm him, I think he's going to make the Jets significantly better. And I do believe that they are a playoff team in the AFC. I don't know if they're better than the Buffalo Bills or even the Miami Dolphins, but I think they're a playoff team in the AFC with Aaron Rodgers under center. But I believe that when you get into the NFL playoffs in the AFC, you got to go through Lawrence. You got to go through Burrow. You got to go through Allen. You got to go through Mahomes. You got to go through possibly Lamar Jackson. It's just a gauntlet. It's going to be difficult. And there's no guarantees in the NFL. Everyone can't beat Tom Brady and go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and win a Super Bowl in their first year. Matthew Stafford was able to do it with the LA Rams, but that Rams team, they won a Super Bowl because of their defense. And Aaron Donald, Leonard Floyd, Von Miller dominating on that playoff run. Matthew Stafford wasn't great on that playoff run. He had a pretty good playoff game against the Buccaneers that year. But in the NFC Championship in the Super Bowl, Matthew Stafford was average. He wasn't great. But again, I will see if the trade gets done. We still have to find out if Aaron Rodgers wants to play this year. We got to see if Aaron Rodgers wants to play this year. And if he wants to play, it sounds like it's coming down to him either retiring or playing for the Jets. The Packers organization, it seemed like they're ready to move off of Aaron Rodgers and move on to the Jordan Love era. And I support that decision 100%.